Hello, it's Sonia from The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel, and today we are going to do another update video. It is the beginning of April, so I thought I would update you on the March bin, and I will introduce you to the April yarn bin and show you what yarn I've got going on for April, and you can see my progress for March. I haven't made a lot of progress, I'm going to be honest. This whole pandemic thing is really turned my world upside down, and I'm sure it's turned your world upside down too. I mean, who would have thought that something like this, would even happen? But it is, and it's been crazy. So far, my family, we are doing really well physically, and I hope that you are too. And if you're not, I am so sorry if you are sick. I hope and pray that you will get well soon, and that this will be over soon and we can, go back to living normal lives. But in the meantime, everyone just stay safe. I'm sure you've been hearing it everywhere and probably tired of it. But yeah, this is what's going on. But anyway, back to yarn talk. So yeah, I'm trying to work through my stash. I have a lot. So yes, and I'm going to update you on some projects I have finished. I have finished some. I don't feel like I've made a lot of progress, but hey, some's better than none, and I do have some still in progress. Okay, so here is the March bin situation. As you can see, not much looks different from the previous video, but I thought, I will give you an update here. Now I have used some yarn, so like this multicolored, I call it clown colors. I actually made some mittens out of that and mixed it in with some red. And there is a video up with that, and there was some red, and I was able to use some red too, but as you can see, there's still quite a bit of yarn going on here. I feel like I just haven't gotten a lot done because of, I guess, the whole coronavirus thing, and everybody's home now, and I have to try to figure out homeschooling, and it's just a lot. So I do have a lot of projects. I mean, I did get some things done, which you will see, but I just feel like not much has happened. Still need to figure out what to do with this. I think I might have an idea with this yarn here. Not sure if I'll even have enough. I might have to mix something else in with it. But we shall see. So here it is. So here is the April bin of yarn for the Bust My Stash 2020 challenge. So we have some very old worsted weight. I don't even think they make this anymore. I don't even know where I got it. Like a lot of this yarn, I have no idea where it came from. I think this came from my mom. I'm not sure. It's kind of a rough yarn, maybe a pillow. Something you wouldn't want to lay on very often. Definitely not something to wear. It almost feels like wool, but I'm not sure if it is. I do have this, and there's actually a project that I need to finish. So this is a cowl. I remember I started working on it before we moved over the summer and never finished it. So here we go, one to finish. And I have some purple yarn. This is actually, it almost looks like a bluish purple, but it's pretty much straight up violet purple in real life. So some of that. Oh, and here's another project. This crazy, let me find the bottom of it. Yeah, this was some kind of funky scarf I was working on. I'm not sure why I stopped working on it, but another one that I'll need to finish. And mostly, I think this is mostly worsted weight. I'm not seeing any thread in here. Oh, look. Oh, joy. More of this dirty yarn. Alright. So I guess I didn't realize I had this much of this stuff. And again, I have no idea where I got this. I'm sure maybe somebody gave it to me. I have no idea. I gotta do something with this. I'm thinking American Girl doll or 18-inch doll sweater, because a real human would not want to wear this. At least I don't think so. So here you go. This is the April bin, and I will update you at the end of this month, or maybe the very beginning of May, depending on how things go with my progress. Okay, I thought I would update you on some projects that I've been working on from my March bin. and I might have included some yarn from the January and February, because as I go along, I'm just going to keep piling on the yarn and try to, you know, pick from the different bins to create different projects and use up yarn. That's the whole goal, right? Use up our stash. And now we have all this extra time. So what I've been working on right now, this one is not a completed project, and I apologize. I usually like to do this downstairs showing my projects, but now everybody is home for obvious reasons, and I need to find my own little corner that I can do this, so we're gonna do it here. So here is, it's going to be I guess a wrap that I'm working on. And this is an existing pattern. I had made this pattern a couple years ago for a publication called I Like Crochet, and I decided to revise it. I really enjoyed working with that publication, so if you are a designer and were wondering, they're really great to work with. This was probably one of my first patterns for them, and I'm sorry, I forget the name of it. They actually came up with a name. It wasn't the original name that I had, so I'm not sure, but I can link that in the description box, and all patterns that I have that are in existence I will link for you in the description box, so I can link this one. But I decided that I would kind of redo this pattern. I like the original, but I just wanted to tweak it a little bit using a different size hook and just changing some numbers a little bit. So yeah, this one is in progress, and it will be a wrap, which would be really nice for weddings or a proms. I mean, hopefully we'll have those things again. You know, this year's kind of seems like it's a wash, but let's hope is eternal. We're gonna hope for the best here. So that one is going to take a little while to finish. And my next project I have here is called the Marshmallow Headband. My daughter named it because of the color. This was some old worsted weight yarn, and I just made a plain one. I do have a pattern and a written pattern and a video for this, and this would be considered, I think, an easy pattern. And you could also use this with different colors. I just made it in one color, and you could also, you know, add buttons, bows, you know, whatever to jazz it up. I just kept it simple here. So my next project that I made were mittens. So I'm gonna put them on for you. So I'd never made mittens before, so I was pretty excited when these guys turned out, I think, really cute. And I do have a pattern for these. It's called, they're called the Springfield Mittens, and I have a whole Springfield series. I have the Springfield Hat, the Springfield Fingerless Mitts, or Springfield Mitts. I have Springfield Mittens, and I will have a cowl pattern coming up, and it might be done before this pattern this video goes out, I'm not sure. And I'm thinking to complete my Springfield series, because it kind of turned into that, I'm going to make a sweater. So stay tuned for that. We'll see how it goes. I haven't made a lot of sweaters, or at least designed a lot of sweaters. I've made sweaters, but designing them, it's a whole other ball of works. Sizing's hard. It's hard. But yes, these are mittens, and yeah, first time, but also these would be a beginner pattern. So if you've never made mittens and you always wanted to crochet mittens, this would be a great pattern to start with, I think. So now that we talked about the Springfield mittens, I am wearing the Springfield Cowl right here that I just finished making, blocking, and a pattern will be coming out for this guy. And I love cowls, scarves. I wear them all the time because I hate having a cold neck. And this was made this was Knit Picks yarn, and I believe it's either fingering weight or sport weight. Their yarns to me tend to be a bit lighter weight than what they say. So let's say you buy a worsted weight yarn from Knit Picks. To me it feels more like a DK weight, but you know, it's good yarn. So if you've never ordered from Knit Picks, I highly recommend them. I've actually worked with them in the past too. I had a pattern with them a few years ago that I designed, and they were, again, a great company. So, you know, I'm not being sponsored. I'm just, you know, sharing my experience. They have great yarn, great company. So, Yeah, so this was made, I forget the name of, I don't know if it's Stroll or Swish, but it's really soft yarn. It's really nice. And this pattern, you can make this with any yarn. You could use, you know, I use fingering weight. You could use worsted weight, DK, sport. You could even make it chunky. The pattern's really versatile. Yeah, I cannot talk. I'm so sorry. Pattern's really versatile, so you could, you know, certainly if you wanted a really nice, wide, chunky cowl, you could certainly do that. I will have directions on to show you how to do that. So yeah, so we'll have the Springfield Cowl coming up. And next, so here I have a hat. This is the Springfield Hat. I've made a couple of these, and I actually made another one, and I will show a clip of it. I cannot find it. I don't know. I made it. I don't know if one of my kids took it, even though it's not really hat weather anymore. But it's cute, and who knows. But I'll show you a clip to show you it actually existed. I actually used it out of my March, or maybe it was the February bin. March, but it doesn't matter. I just used up yarn. But this hat right here was made with entirely of scraps of yarn. And when I mean scraps, we're talking like this long or shorter, maybe a little bit longer, but maybe like a foot long. I mean, it was a crazy endeavor. I always kind of wanted to do it, and so I thought, why not? Let's try it. And I kind of just cobbled together all these colors, kind of made up my own color scheme here. Like I wanted a gradient effect, and I think it turned out really cute. The only downside is, I'll show you the ugly part here. All these ends, and I decided to not weave them into completion. They're all weaved in somewhat, so that when you're wearing the hat, you know, the ends aren't going to, it's not going to separate on the other side. You're not going to see a hole. And I made sure, like, when you put the hat on, you know, like nothing's poking out down here. I just didn't feel like weaving in all these ends, because this is for my daughter. Of course, if I was gifting it for somebody, I would definitely weave in all the ends. But my daughter doesn't care, and if I feel like it's extra, you know, extra protection, extra warmth, extra cushioning with all the extra ends. I mean, you could also make a liner for this hat. So if you were really, you know, good with the sewing machine, you could sew, you know, a liner. I am not, so we're leaving it like this, and it's fine. So we're going to keep going with the whole Springfield theme. I made, these are the fingerless gloves. Let me pop them on for you. And they're just called Springfield Mitts. So here they are, Springfield Mitts right here, and there is a written pattern for these. And I do like fingerless gloves. I wear them quite a bit. I know some people think that they're worthless and weird and silly, but actually I actually find them to be very handy. I've worn them especially in the winter time, like if you're going to the grocery store, and I get cold really easily, and you know, it's kind of hard when you're wearing gloves with your fingers covered. Like, I feel like this provides some warmth, but I can, you know, do things. I can pick up my items, I can look at them. You know, I have some mobility if I need to look at my phone. You know, they're available. I've even used these. We moved recently, but where we used to live, it was really cold all the time. So I would wear these in the house, so I could like do cleaning and housework and not be freezing to death. So I find these to be really versatile and handy. So these are the Springfield Mitts. Okay, here's another little project that I made. This is a little baby hat, and I made this for out of all of this terrible news that we've been having. There's a bright spot. A family member of mine had a baby girl, so that was really exciting. Right at the beginning, I guess mid-March, she was born, actually the day before St. Patrick's Day. So I made this for her using this crazy fuzzy yarn, and I don't like working with this kind of yarn, so my goal was to really use it all up, and I did. I only had maybe this much left, so I was really proud of myself. And it is a really soft hat, and then I just added these cute little flowers on top, and I'm not going to make a pattern for this hat because it drove me crazy. I tried knitting with this yarn, but I couldn't really see what I was doing. So, and I'm not very skilled knitter. So I decided we're gonna crochet. That's what I'm really good at. But that was just fun, because not fun. I couldn't see the stitches, and I decided to use a smaller hook than what probably normal people do. I'm not normal, so I think, you know, most people would use like a J hook or a K. Now I use like a G, which is insane. And I couldn't even see the stitches, and I'm just like poking my hole. I'm like, oh, that works. So who knows, you know, but you can't tell. So here we go. I think it's, I did single crochet, and then the band I did a row of double crochet. And it looks like a hat, and my daughter actually wanted a hat like this herself. She just loves it for some reason, loves the flowers, but I told her it's, you know, too bad because this yarn is gone, and I'm not sad about it. So I have 2 more projects to show you. I have 2 knitted projects. I decided to break out my knitting needles, and the first one, they're both hats. So here is a hat right here that I knitted, and I'm calling this my Never Give Up, Never Surrender hat, because it took me about 5 tries to make this guy. I kept having to take it apart, and taking apart knitting is not easy. Taking apart crochet is very easy, and picking up where you left off, but knitting is a whole other situation. At least it is for me. Maybe you skilled knitters, you know, it's a piece of cake, but for me, it's like torture. So each time I messed up and I'd have to take it apart, I was like, should I just redo the whole thing? And I didn't want to start over, and so on and on it went. But I'm like, you know what, we're gonna do this. It just became like a thing that I had to accomplish. So here we go. I accomplished it. It's actually my own design that I did, you know, because why not? I don't know if I'll write a pattern, so any of you knitters out there, you know, I applaud you, because knitting's not my friend all the time. I like knitting. I want to be better at it, but I don't know, we just don't get along. But I'm going to keep trying. So, and also to make myself feel better, after this hat was made, I crocheted a flower, because this I can do. I'm good at this. So I crocheted a flower to stick on there, and I actually used up all this yarn. So the silver lining is I used up all this yarn to make this hat, and then I had a little bit left, so I made the flower. So this yarn is gone. I think it's that, that's that self gradient. It's a Lion brand yarn. I forget what it's called. Maybe the Cupcake. I don't know. You know, it's really, really popular. The label fell off and it got lost, so I don't know. But it's that kind of yarn. And my last project is another knitted project. This is a hat that I made for my youngest daughter, who is a major horse lover. I had bought this pattern years ago, and hoping that someday I'd be able to knit it. It's I hope you can see it's horses on there. And at the time when I bought it, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I could not have knitted this hat. But through the years, my skills have gotten a little better. Not great. I would say I'm at an elementary level with knitting at best. But I was able to make this hat, you know, and there were some tears and gnashing of teeth, but you know, we got through it. We got through it, and she really loves this hat, and I'm thrilled, and I don't know if I'll make it again soon. We shall see. I like the way it looks at the end. So yeah, those are my projects that I was able to complete for March, and hopefully, you know, I will have a whole bunch more at the end of April to show you. But yes, I hope that you are well, and I thank you so much for watching.